I actually applaud women for not feeling the pressure that I think generations before them felt. I mean, there was a
True.
card game called Old Maid, basically making fun of women who are unwed and unmarried. So I'm glad that they've gotten over that. Where there's this unnecessary pressure. But I don't want that shift in this pressure to shift them to thinking that there's not I'm not saying a need, there's not benefits to being married. What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Ferg, joined by co-hosts Buff and Rozzy. Fellas, what it do?
We tied. I just want to let the list. I just want to let the listeners know that, like, before we recorded, like, me and Rozzy was on. He tied, Ferg tied, I'm tied. I'm doing this new thing now where I've been waking up an extra hour early, so I've been waking up at like 4 a.m. now, trying to be a little more productive, reading more, reading the Bible, meditating, working on some ideas I have, staying consistent with my workout. So we tired, man. And I just want the listeners to know we really do have guests in mind that we want to have on the show. We've spoken to people about being on, but it's hard enough for the three of us. I'm telling you, some weeks it come close to being two brothers no sense for an episode,
or just no sense.
It's so difficult, man. So we would love to have guests regularly, but just getting our three schedules is hard enough. Then you add on another person or two. But I just want them to know we do that is something we're thinking of.
I think COVID spoiled us for a while. I think that's when we were at home. We all needed a mental and social outlet, and now it's like, all right, life.
Welcome back. Also, I think the top two vote getters for how to pronounce Iran was Iran and Iran. I think those were the two vote getters on my post. I just was curious on how people are pronouncing the country that we decided to kind of get involved with Israel. So I'm gonna be honest.
Iran.
I'm gonna be honest. I say it different almost every time. I mostly say Iran, but sometimes I might change it up, remix it. Iran, so Iran, it's one of them though. It's one of them. And I don't have too much, man, other than I was reading an interesting article. I posted that on my page as well about women are not necessarily happier with not being married, but more and more women are coming to grips with, I guess, being okay with not being married. And it's just the numbers and the percentages have definitely shifted over the last 10 and 20 years to where on certain polls men outnumber women on desiring to be married. Women have given up hope, and I don't want to play the blame game because I hate gender wars, but I just wish both sides can figure it out. But it was a very interesting article, man. And the only other thing I got, man, is are you guys, if the rumors are true.
Before you go there, I wanted to ask a question about that.
What's up? What you got?
Do you think that them saying that they're okay with being single is a little bit of kind of what we talk about, like the body positivity thing, where you body positive until you lose some weight, and then you like really body positive? Like there's a difference there when you lose that weight. We talk about Lizzo all the time, right? Like she was body positive but then lost that weight still. Like, do you think it's that?
So obviously it's going to be definitely some cases like that with women, but from what I read, most of them, they do want to be married. They're just not going to settle for anything. So
Okay.
It's not that they don't want to be married. It's just that they kind of have given up, so to speak. One of the quotes that stuck out to me, this lady, she was like, dating is the only thing where you can put in like 10,000 hours.
Yeah, 10,000 hours of work and still
Yeah,
have
you
nothing to
get
show
nothing.
for it. Because like
Yeah.
they say, if you put 10,000 hours of work of anything, you become an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And she's an expert dater. I'm with Rozzy. I feel like it's
Expert
conflated.
data.
It's conflated. I mean, I'm not saying that people are miserable or whatever the case may be. I don't think it's one of those things where people are truthful on both parts, you know. Um I think men are more open to it because, just to be honest, I think a lot of times men idea of marriage is not this grandiose thing. So they're kind of like, it's like it is what it is, right? It's not. Does that make sense? Where it's just like your
Yeah.
expectations aren't
Yeah.
so high.
Well,
Where
it's because a man's peace actually isn't the expectation of a marriage, right? Like guys don't expect to have peace; they expect to protect and provide and do this and be stressed and all that. So, like going into the relationship,
yeah,
our
so it's kind of
expectation
like
is totally different than a woman who is like, "Oh, I should be the princess and pampered and protected and all of that." So, I think it's a little bit of that where our expectations are totally different.
And if you take their word, if you take them for their word, um, you know, some of the guys they come across are tripping. Again, if they're telling the truth, but it was like one lady was like, the guy she was dating wanted her to stay home and, pretty much be a housewife, but he made like 50% less than she did. You know what I mean? So just those type of things like that, or guys are so called. Although I like to dive more into this, but guys that are intimidated by women that make more. I know there are guys that probably are, but sometimes I think women read that wrong. I don't think that they're intimidated. It's like, how are you carrying it? You know what I'm saying? How are you approaching that relationship when you do make significantly more than the guy? Because it may not be that he's intimidated by how much you make. It may be he doesn't like how you treat him because of how much you make. He ain't gonna be putting up with that. Every time y'all get in an argument, you say, "Well, this is my house. You can get
Mm,
out. You can leave." You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I think
and
that's a whole question. I don't know if we want to hold off if y'all
I
have
mean,
questions on that.
yeah, we can
That
go
is
into
a
that,
whole conversation. We
but
can go down that route.
yeah, and I don't want to. I'm not here to berate women either. Buff, I mean, I'm just you. Everything that's going on, that's all you got. I mean, we got meteors falling from the sky and freaking.
well, the
We
only other thing I
we
was going to
we
ask y'all was,
we
are you
bombed
excited?
Iran.
Hey, I just want to know how to pronounce it. That's all. That's all I
It doesn't
care
matter.
about.
We
No, I was just gonna ask, are y'all excited if Jay-Z performs at the Super Bowl? I was gonna keep it light.
man, we got to
I
get
am.
into
I am. I like it.
Super Bowl, man. Are we gonna make it to the Super Bowl? We talking about World War III, baby.
We'll make it. We probably still had a Super Bowl because that's how
What's
naive
what,
we
what
are.
where are we currently? Because everything with him is so back and forth, back and forth. Is there a peace deal right now
There's
between
a ceasefire right
ceasefire?
now,
Yeah. Okay.
and so there's a couple of things that have been going on with that though. There is a ceasefire. Iran is using Qatar to talk to Israel, Qatar,
I like
whatever.
Qatar. I like
Yeah,
Qatar
I
better.
like
I like
Qatar.
Qatar.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. A lot of the military guys they call it Qatar for some reason. I don't know, but
I
yeah,
heard it pronounced that way too, though.
yeah. But either way, so they're going through them. So that's happening. They do have the ceasefire going while they talk through it. I don't think it's going to escalate anymore. Everybody has kind of done their thing. The biggest issue I think right now is that Trump has admitted that he actually gave approval for Iran, we're gonna say it. I'm gonna say it different every time we say it, but
There you go.
for
Yeah.
Iran to bomb the U.S. bases in Qatar. So that I think is a big deal. He actually was, yeah, he was on a what's up
Trump gave Iran permission to bomb our bases.
our base. Yes, he said that's what he said he was doing an interview or whatever. And he answering questions. I'll send y'all the clip of it. He literally said
What
they called and asked permission, and he said it was okay. That's fine.
I don't believe he's I don't believe it's true. If it is, and if he knew how to play the game and keep quiet, it was probably a good move.
It was a smart move if he had done it,
But I
like
don't think
because what
he's that
happened is
smart.
That's why they evacuated. That's why there were no U.S. casualties. That's why it was the same way that Iran moves. That we from a lot of people are saying they moved the nuclear material right before, like they knew it was coming. They knew the bombs were coming. It's almost like it was just theater there, and like, oh yeah, you bomb, we're gonna bomb you, okay, and then all right, you can bomb us back, so that everybody feels like they've gotten their licks in, and now we're gonna cut this thing out.
I think I've gotten kind of cynical. Like I was a little surprised at the reaction to us bombing Iran, and like I know the majority of the people that I agree with were like really riding against it, and I just kind of kept quiet because I'm like, that's what we always do. I mean, Bush got authorization from Congress to go into Iraq, but after that, I mean, he was circumventing the war powers all the time, bombing people. Barack used the drones all the time. Like
Well,
that's what
it's
America does,
different.
baby.
America does it, but what usually happens when they go around the War Powers Act or use the War Powers Act is we either have been like U.S. assets have been attacked or killed or captured.
Response.
It's a response, or we can prove that it's an imminent threat, right? Oh, they are planning an attack. We have intelligence that says that they are planning an attack, yada yada yada, against us. Not just they're planning an attack against one of our allies or somebody else, but against us. There was nothing, right? Tulsi Gabbard came 2 weeks before we bombed and said intelligence says that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. They're not moving towards that. Blah 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 blah. Right? I mean, we're only 3 years away from where we were going in every week doing inspections because we were at a nuclear deal, or 5 years now in 2020 before Trump pulled us out. The deal that Obama actually brokered had us going in. We knew what was happening. We were able to go in and do inspections and everything like that. Iran was playing the game. And then when Trump pulled us out, yes, they went and they enriched more and everything like that. But again, Netanyahu has been saying for almost 20 years that they are 1 week away from having a nuclear weapon. And that is all that they're. Intelligence said that they weren't. And Trump just said, my gut told me that they were. And so he just went ahead and bombed them. Like,
That boy
that's
been
where
that
that's where
boy,
right. Like
that boy
like
been saying this since reasonable doubt dropped. That boy been saying that for a long time. But nah, man, I don't know. I just kind of like that's what the hell we do.
And we don't know what to believe of the results of it. I mean, according to Trump, they're years to decade. We've disrupted their nuclear arsenal and their progress for years or even possibly decades. And other experts say, like, yeah, a couple of months.
couple months.
Do y'all like the revisionist history? Like people, nobody likes to ever say they're wrong or they messed up, but
This is
they're
a whole
trying to
other
say
level.
Kamala would have did the same thing. She would have did the same thing. I'm like, well, the Biden administration and Iran threw missiles at Israel. Biden told Netanyahu, we're not getting in that. We're not getting in that. Y'all blocked all the missiles, so stand down. So it's just people want to say that they didn't mess up on their vote.
Also, the fact that he campaigned on no wars, America first. I mean, that's the big thing. That was a huge thing that he was saying.
Yeah, they got him a lot of independence right there because people hate war.
Yeah, I mean, with everything going on with Ukraine and all this stuff, it was just kind of like, yeah, man, America first. We're gonna do our thing, and it's kind of like, y'all said what to who? Israel getting all doing all the okay. It's crazy. I think Wu actually told me from Wuism, was the one that broke the news to me. We were at our conference this weekend, and next thing I know, he's like, "Yeah, we're going to war. We just bombed Iran." I'm like, that can't be true because it came out of nowhere.
Right.
Came out of nowhere, and so what else you got for us, Razi?
A few things. At Home is going bankrupt, so if you guys like At Home and want to go and get some at home stuff, then go to, because they're going bankrupt and they're closing a whole bunch of stores. What else is going on? They have a FDA has approved an HIV twice a year drug. So if you are, say, in a relationship with somebody who has HIV, or family member, and you're kind of worried that you might cross contaminate or whatever, they have a twice a year prevention drug that you can take and not have to worry about getting HIV. It's FDA approved, so you got that, and that is saying something for FDA to approve it when you got the Health and Human Services RFK Jr. as the head of that, and he's allowing that to get FDA approved. So that just lets you know it's just wild out there. Shout out to what's his name, Cameron Price. He's a 17-year-old that hacked into his city's grid for the light grid, traffic grid, and reset all the lights to make them time correctly so that he could stop traffic. And it cut like travel times by like 90% or something in there. And they gave him a fine and house arrest for it because they said you still hacked into the system. But everybody, he has like 50,000 signatures to be like, hey, drop them. It's a misdemeanor charge. Drop the misdemeanor. Let that boy go. And y'all probably need to hire him because he did more for that grid than anybody in the last 30 years. So shout out to him, man, for a little bit of hacktivists trying to make things right there. And finally, talking about hacktivists, Disney Plus and Disney and Marvel, they have a non-binary trans, I don't even know what they call a drag queen hacker in Ironheart. And so that has been getting a whole lot of pushback. They already have a black woman lead. Now they have a black drag queen-ish type person. I really don't know if it's, if she, I don't even know what they call them in there. I think it's a they. I think they're non-binary. But there was a whole lot of pushback on that. And so Ironheart has gotten review bombed based on that, based on having a black lead, based on having a woman lead. But I actually watched the first 3 episodes and it is good, man. The first episode's a little slow. It's kind of setting the tone for everything, but it cranks up. And by the 3rd episode, they have you hooked where you're like, okay, I really want to know what's going on.
Okay.
So
I made it through the first. I was tired the first time I tried to watch it, so I fell asleep the first 10 minutes. The second time we made it through the first episode, it was pretty good. Like you said, it was slow. I was a little annoyed, but
what were you annoyed by?
Her willingness to engage in the extracurricular activities, take the job offer.
I mean, she was breaking the law when she was introduced in Black Panther 2. So
yeah.
she's
I don't
not
think she was
like
breaking the law. She was
straight laced.
She was breaking school code, right? Like it wasn't like she wasn't going to jail.
Well, no, I'm not in the series. I'm talking about Black Panther 2. She was literally breaking the law when they came and got her what she had when she was making the suit and all of that. They found her because she was breaking the law with some of the stuff she was doing.
Okay,
Razi, you can cut this question out. This is just something I want to know. I saw you mentioned At Home is going bankrupt. Mm-hmm. I saw Monster Jobs also and another job search website going bankrupt. Are people finding different ways to has there been a big shift on how people are finding jobs now?
Yeah, LinkedIn. They're using AI to apply for jobs and stuff like that, but LinkedIn came in and like took a lot of that because it's linked. You have that social element. You're already on it and everything. So LinkedIn Jobs and Indeed are kind of your 2 biggest ones now, and everybody's kind of going to those 2. So Monster, nobody kind of goes to it anymore. So that's kind of what happened with them. They went like Yahoo did, right? Yahoo's still around, but nobody goes and be like, yeah, let me go Yahoo something and go search with yahoo.com, right? So it's kind of that same thing there. And eventually it just died out. So they're not making enough money to keep them running.
Also, Deja didn't age from This Is Us to Ironheart. She looks exactly
Deja looks exactly the same. I was surprised on that. But that Deja, I think, is that she is the star of the show. Like, I love her character. She does such a good job on there. So have you watched any of the episodes, Buff? Or
just the first
one? Yeah. So just showing, she shows up throughout the next couple episodes and it is good. So she's the star.
Okay.
So you're gonna like it. So that's all I got, man.
I don't have much. Just want to thank everybody. As I mentioned earlier during the show, we conducted our National Youth Leadership Conference for the Lamplighters. We had 11 chapters from over 7 states show up. The largest gathering of Lamplighters ever. We had over 200 students, and it was a time. We were hosted by Prairie View A&M University. We had sponsors. We had a career expo and guest speakers. It was just a really good time, and it made me proud to be a part of what we've established and to see all the directors from all over the country. And this is the third time we've done this, and I think we set the bar pretty high, and we're excited to continue on this road and partner with local HBCUs and local colleges. It's really great to see our young men interact, and it was something I couldn't even imagine. So Great time to be had. So anybody that supported us in the past, thank you. We'll have more information coming soon. We had a bunch of videos from different Lamplighter chapters post what they've done. And on another note, we were talking about bankrupt and stuff like that. Even though they're not going bankrupt, have you heard about the Amazon employees? They're I don't know how true it is, but I was reading that they were asking a lot of their people who were working from home to start moving to states, being cities with a hub, to cut down their footprint, and because they believe layoffs might be coming as well, because AI possibly will be taking over some of these jobs in these positions. So AI is scary. I mean, we're talking about all this other stuff, but Skynet is real, bro. Razi, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Dang, that's what I was trying to say. Yes, I agree with you. Yes, that's happening. What happened is their return to office mandate is not just a return to like local offices. They were telling them to return to office in these hubs, and so I actually made a post about that, and so I'll say it here. Folks, do not like leave the job, right? Make them sever you, make them terminate you if you return to office and they're making you move over, like I think it's like 45 minutes to an hour. If they're forcing you to come back in and into an office where you're and they're changing your work arrangement type, that is a severable offense. So they don't necessarily, they can't fire you. They literally have to like sever you and give you a severance package on that. So just know if they're changing the locations, then they can't just terminate you because they're changing locations. So they would have to do a severance on that. So make sure that you guys are. So yes, layoffs are probably coming based on the AI and everything like that. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that make them terminate you. Do not just go ahead and quit there. And yes to AI also being just this awesome thing. You saw I built that app. I used AI to build an app and it did all the code and all the development and I built it in like a couple days. So it's one of those things that not only are people who, oh, I got a repetitive job. When you talk about developers and coders and anything that can kind of be recreated easily out there from GitHub or something like that, because a lot of developers, that's what they do. They go to GitHub and say, okay, how do I build this functionality? GitHub probably has it already there, and then they just kind of recreate it, tweak it a little bit. The AI can do that for you. It built an app in like 2 hours. Or 2 days to get all the functionality I need. But simple apps you can do in an hour or so. Just go out there, man. Be careful with this AI and all the like computer engineers and coders and everybody who's like in school now and they think that's going to be the wave of the future. Rethink that. You may need to make sure that you're looking into AI or something like that and not thinking you're going to go in and be a Python developer, right? Because AI is doing a lot of that where now people are thinking they're going through school thinking that that's going to be their career and it may not be. So just kind of think about that, kids.
What app did you create?
One for the lamplighters. So, and then I think I shared the other one for my other idea. I don't want to share that yet because that's my personal one. But I created a app for the lamplighters so that they can put in like their service projects, track it, and all of that. Have a chat function, a couple different things on there. So it's really easy way for organizations to be able to track their people and put in their service projects, track who's gone to them, put in requirements, those types of things for them. So,
cool.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I've been busy today, but last I heard we were living Chicken Little. The sky's falling. So there was a meteor that crashed. They confirmed there was a meteor
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
it was a meteor in Atlanta, and it was large enough that I saw it here in Birmingham. So I was able to see it fall, and I was like, "What is that?" And so when he posted, we were in our group chat, and when Mike posted it that it happened, I was like, "I saw it happen," and I was driving down the interstate, heading to go pick up the kids, and I was just like, "What is that?" And so I
Yeah.
literally saw it fly.
Yeah, I think thousands or hundreds a lot of people reported seeing a fireball in the sky, and I think the people that were close enough said they experienced a shockwave.
Mm.
And so with that could be an exaggeration, but with everything that's going on right now, imagine being in Atlanta and all of a sudden you see this fireball coming through the sky and you feel it. Armageddon.
Yeah.
Like I could only imagine. Like maybe 2 weeks ago, not so much, but in the world we live in today, I'm pretty sure some people thought we were being attacked. So it's crazy. Sky's falling. It's World War III. Diddy might be getting off. I don't know. It's just crazy. Nothing that I thought that was happening. This is not. I don't even know if there's a bingo card for the year we're having so far.
Do you think 25 is worse than say 2020?
No, 25 is more unpredictable because 25 is just a lot of inconvenience and
Yeah.
just frustration. 2020 was just complete decimation. The
Yeah.
world turned upside down. This year just kind of this year's like a freaking Sims. This is
Yeah. I give it a close second though. Yeah, I think it's 21 was probably my second worst year, right? Of and not just on a personal level, like I'm talking about like just nationally with just craziness happening, right? Trying to dig our way out of it. It 25 is it's what are we 6 months into this
yeah,
administration and
but
it feels like years. Like it is exhausting.
yeah, but I think it's more exhausting. Like because there's impact, but what's the impact been outside of a lot of frustration and confusion?
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
but the year's not over yet. Every week, every recording, we're like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Whatever we said was crazy last time pales in comparison to this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's in the next episode of Trump? Who wants to go?
I have no idea who didn't get one last time or what.
Do you want to jump into the question kind of led the show off with?
Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that and then see how long that takes us.
But if you want to set it up again, or you think we're in a good spot?
We should be in a good spot. I guess I can set it up also though. So for the listeners, if you don't like our opening intro, you just like to get to the meat of the podcast. if you missed the top of the show, I made a post on my personal page from an article I saw in the Wall Street Journal. And it was an essay called American Women Are Giving Up on Marriage. And it had a paywall, so I wound up like posting a lot of the screenshots from the article. But basically, it was just citing all these different statistics. And what it comes down to is there are a lot of women that have become, I don't want to say they are happy, but they have learned to become content with not being married. And the shame of being single has dwindled to where women no longer feel compelled to get married. Like,
That's good.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's just something we talked about at the top of the show, and we just kind of bounced around on like what's true, what's not, what are like the nuances of that conversation. So I don't even really have a specific question. Let's just
Jump
go
in.
with it. Yeah.
And so again to the question, right? I asked, I was like, do we think that women are being 100% truthful in that, or is it just kind of a I likened it to like having the body positivity, right? Like, oh, I'm big, but I'm still fine. You know, I'm still.
How many times they gonna fall for that too? Because Monique did it, Lizzo did it. But anyway, that's a good place to start because one of the paragraphs from one of the screenshots says 2022 Pew survey of single adults showed only 34% of single women were looking for romance, compared to 54% of single men, down from 38% and 61%. So it used to be 38% of single women were looking for it and 61%. But the men are outranking the women when it comes to looking for romance. So I don't know how they phrased the question. I don't know if they just simply said, "Hey, are you looking for romance?" You know what I mean? But that's what the polls are saying, that men are looking for it more than women. And it also says men were also more likely than women to say they were worried that nobody would want to. Let's just kick that around a little.
Yeah, it was funny that, especially that end point where you were like, it was saying that men are more worried that nobody wants to date them than women. That wasn't surprising, right? Like most women,
on that. I already know you're going with that.
Think that like, oh, every guy wants me, I can get it, right? Like, we always laugh and joke about, the fours want tens, right? Like women that are like fours, fives are like they deserve a 9, 10, and guys are more realistic, right? Like if you're a 4 or 5, you're happy to get a 6, and so I think that's probably spot on and didn't surprise anybody there. But I just think that them saying, "Oh, I'm okay with being single," and I think you even said it right. They want to be married, but they're just like, "Oh, I'm okay with it." I don't think they're okay. I think they're lying to themselves when they say, "I want to be in a relationship, but I'm okay without being in a relationship." Right? Most times they've grown accustomed to it. You know, we talk about living with depression. We talk about living with anything. It's like, I'm okay, right? And until you start to get out of it, that's when you find out that, like, I was not okay. And I think that's where they are right now. They're saying, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, but I want to be in a relationship, but I'm just not gonna settle." That means that you're not okay. That means that you really do want it, and you're just like, you just accepted that it's a little bit harder to find. And I think I made the joke maybe on here when I was like, women stop waiting until you're 35 to try to, but it's one of those things that, go ahead.
So I'm gonna offer a little pushback for the women. I think they are okay compared to the alternative. They're okay with being single if the only alternative from what they have experienced in dating is men that they aren't compatible with, or that it just doesn't work out, or that they know they would be unhappy with. And from their dating experience, if they just haven't found that person that they can see themselves with, then they are content with being by themselves.
But
Well,
oh, go ahead, Ferg. Go ahead. I
I
know I talked
think
a lot.
I think there's a couple of things to look at. One being that I actually applaud women for not feeling the pressure that I think generations before them felt. I mean, there
True,
was a
true.
card game called Old Maid, basically making fun of women who are unwed and unmarried. So I'm glad that they've gotten over that. You know, where there's this unnecessary pressure. But I don't want that shift in this pressure to shift them to thinking that there's not I'm not saying a need, there's not benefits
Mm-hmm.
to being married, right? But at the same time, I do agree with Razi that I think sometimes facing the truth, or under completely being, I guess, your truth and the truth are two different things. Because they could be living in their truth, like you said. There's times where we believe that we're okay. I believe when I was depressed that I was okay. When I was grieving, I was okay. We believe it because it's easier when you're going through something to accept the lie. Because dealing with the truth hurts. There's a reason they say the truth hurts. So I don't think women are walking around here depressed and crying themselves to sleep because they're not in relationships. I think we're in this twilight zone situation where I don't think either party, and I will speak towards women right now, know what good or what expectations look like. It's like, it's we talk about, a part of us talk about finances and men not living up to their standards, but hey, are your standards realistic? Are they based off of some fairy tale, based off of some expectation that you
Pre
created that
1960 notions, right?
yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
And you know what, Rozzy? I think, my bad, Fer. I think we personally have all progressed. A lot of us personally have progressed, but I think the group mentality, the group thing, still reverts back to the societal past. So like, women are making more money than men now, but they still want to find a man that takes care of them. And to where they don't have to pay any of the bills or anything like that. Like, a lot of women are scoffing at the whole 50-50 thing. Like, on average, baby, y'all are making more than us. So it's like, you fought for that. Employment opened up to women. Now women are outranking men, black men at least, on how much money they make. But you still wanted to be like how you said, the 60s, where the man takes care of everything.
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that only one person can do one thing. So somebody has to earn more. It's very rare that you're like, okay, you make 80, I make 80. Like, it's somebody's gonna be the lead. And you talk about that, or this person who's, if we're talking about financially, they're a 8 and he's a 6, they feel like they're settling. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to settle because if she's a 8, he needs to be a 10 financially, for a lot of women, not all women. But at the same time, it's, if he's a 10, you're an 8, he's settling for you. If we're using that same, it's
That
okay
same
for men,
logic,
and
yeah.
men expect to, we don't, I think most men don't expect perfection. Our expectations of women, and I'm not saying men have low standards, our expectations of women aren't as, and some of them might actually be sad, right? When you think about what, we just want peace. If she do this, this, and this, I'll be happy. Yeah, we're asking for a lot of times what would seem to us like the bare minimum. Most guys don't go, that I know, go into marriage expecting this great, like, this is about to be great. Like, I'm about to have somebody who's going to cook for me every day and have, like, we assume that marriage is going to be tough. We're going to assume that we're in here for the long haul, and
That's what I said at the top of the show, right? I was like, guys go into these relationships thinking it's gonna be a headache, right? I'm gonna be stressed. I've got to go out and make it happen, and all this, and so the expectations of even the relationship is very, very different there. And so when you really think about it, I can see why guys are looking for relationships more than women are at this point, because women are like, I don't need a guy to protect me and provide for me anymore and all that. So the things a lot of times that the guys were bringing in the past is not needed anymore, right? They still want it, right? They still say they want it, but it's not needed. So they don't have to go out and force it and say, I need a man to be able to provide for me and protect me and all of this, because they're like, I can do that myself. And so I think a lot of them, their expectations haven't changed, right? Where they're like, oh, I want this guy that can make this much money and protect for me or provide for me, and he's got to buy everything, and this is what it is. And those are the women that really can't find a guy a lot of times, and they wonder why. And then you have guys who really have shifted, right? There's not many guys out there that want grandma. Right, there's not many guys out there. It's like, you got to cook for me all the time, clean for me all the time, raise the kids. I'm not gonna be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys out there, but I don't think there's that many out there like that, right? I think guys still kind of are, they're way, like, there are studies now that guys are way more involved in child rearing, right? Like, guys are with the kids a lot more. Guys are cooking some and everything like that. I think guys have shifted a lot on their expectations of their role in the relationships, while women really haven't. There's a lot of women that's like, I want you to help me around the house, but they ain't gonna get out there and cut the grass, right? Like that's what I mean by, like, that shift there, right? You still want me to pay all the bills and do all this. You don't want to go 50-50. You don't want to cut the grass, but you do want me to come in and help you cook after work, right? Like, that's what I mean by the guys have shifted a little bit more on what the expectations are than women have.
So I offer some pushback for the women. I'm gonna offer some for the men, and this actually comes from a woman, and because I didn't post this on my post, but this was one of the responses to that article where I originally found the article. She says, "Okay, I'll spill. All my friends still single in their 30s. They're hunting unicorns. Somewhere along the way, a man stopped just being a man. Now he's supposed to be your therapist, best friend, passionate lover, future father of the year, financial provider, and probably a mind reader too, all wrapped up in one devastatingly handsome package. We grew up on a steady diet of perfect men who could do it all, and now we're shocked to discover that actual humans come with flaws. Men seem to get this. This goes to what y'all just said. Men seem to get this. They prioritize and put up with a lot more shit overall. Meanwhile, women are out here with spreadsheets of required qualities, then wonder why they're perpetually disappointed.
Love it. Thank you.
She cooked.
I as you were talking, if men had the same requirements, if we were as picky as women are when it comes to relationships, and I'm not blaming women, I think society has taught them that. I mean, that whole happy wife, happy life, pampered princess, you're taught certain things, right? It's happily ever after. What story do we got? I never thought I was Prince Charming. I never wanted to be a freaking Disney prince, right? We wanted to be the bad guy, and we wanted to be, a hero or whatever. We wanted to divide and conquer. The way we grow up and, nurture versus nature, we were nurtured a certain way. And I don't know if it's a global phenomenon. I don't know if I mean, you look at social media, you look at entertainment, TV, movies, it sets this mindset of what relationships are supposed to be. I mean, I don't know how many movies where we see a woman slap a man and it's applauded, women's lib, like it's a strong woman, or he gets in trouble with his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, or she leaves this guy and finds his perfect. It's unrealistic, it's unhealthy, and I just hope we can get to a point. I'm not blaming one person or the other, where we can sit down and have a conversation about what's real and what's healthy moving forward. I've said it a couple of times. I'm worried about the state of dating, and you guys kept assuring me like, well, dating's on the rise and marriage is up, and I'm like, I don't think so, man. When I'm out here hearing these people, everybody seems miserable, and we were talking about we're like social media and the narrative and all this stuff, but I'm like, when you posted it, I laughed a little bit because I'm like, this is what I've been thinking the whole time. And unfortunately, women, to I think shift society. Society follows women's needs. Like they set the tone. And as women become more independent and looking down on dating and marriage, it's scary.
I remember when we had a co-ed chat on GroupMe about 10 years ago almost. I said, hey man, marriage is not as attractive as it used to be to younger people. And I forgot who all bit my head off, but I think the women in the chat was like, I was wrong. But I think it's come down to, I think we both were kind of right. Because I think these women in this article, I think a lot of their lifestyle, they are content, but they would like someone romantic, but they're just not going to settle for anyone. Mm-hmm. So they're not, because one lady is literally quoted, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm 100% happy. But she said, but I'm also not going to deal with no BS.
Right.
So it's not so much that people view marriage as unattractive. They just don't view it as they're going to do it no matter what they have to put up with.
And I guess that's the thing. What is the definition of BS? Right? Like if I have to go 50-50, that's BS. If I have to do this, and so I'm either way, like it's what is BS? And it's like, yeah, you have a lot of great qualities and there's some good guys out there, but your expectation of men is, you want the man that can provide and do all the stuff. You make good money. You want the person that can either let you work or let you retire tomorrow. And so he has to be making $500,000 plus to let you live the lifestyle that you want. And there's not a lot of people doing that. And, you keep hearing the narrative, all these women are going for the same 5% of the guys. Right. Mm-hmm. And
I want to know what intimidated by how much they make looks like too. Cause I know it exists, but I want to see specific, cause like, are you saying, hey babe, let's go have a spa day at the Four Seasons tomorrow. And it's like, I need a couple of months to save up for that. I ain't really got it. See, that's your problem right there. You don't like the fact that I have the money to do it. It's like, no, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I don't have it.
Right.
No, and then she goes on to say, he was intimidated by how much I make.
Well, and I think we've had a little bit of that conversation about, I don't know if it's the intimidation of what they make as much as it's to be able to make that. More than likely, you have a certain type of personality that you won't turn off, right? Like if you're making that, you're probably a boss, right? You're a manager, you are like very high leveled in your field and your career, you're running stuff, right? And it's very hard to turn that off and come back home and be soft. And that's what most guys are looking for, is that softness and everything. And so what I see a lot of times with those women that make over six figures is, and I don't want to call them alpha females or anything like that. That's the horrible, I hate that take. But what I'm saying is, you just have to have that kind of personality. If you're making that type of money, a lot of times you are a go-getter and all of that, right? You can't take BS, because if you did take BS at work or throughout the day, then you probably are going to still be making $40,000, $50,000, right? You're not going to get that promotion.
Y'all are overthinking this. Y'all are overthinking this.
And let's tell the truth too. Before you go further, let's tell the truth. Most women that make that kind of money ain't even giving men that make significantly less a chance anyway.
Right.
That's true. Right.
Because the first thing they're going to say is, I think he has potential. Like at best they'll say, well, I think he has the potential to be there one day, but they're not going to accept his $60,000 a year job
Yeah.
while she makes 2K.
Yeah, I
So
think
that don't even happen.
Kiki Palmer was on an interview and she was kind of mentioning that, and she was talking about like they always bring up Stedman or whatever. She was like, guys can find their wife under a bridge and nobody questions it, right? She can be homeless and they're good with that. Nobody will question that. But if a woman that's making six figures or even higher, like Oprah level, finds a guy under the bridge, they like she's dating down or whatever. But if he can make her happy and everything, and she was like, and Stedman's an accomplished guy. Stedman's not like he's not Oprah, but he's making six figures. He's doing his thing. He's got
I
a
think
good
Stedman.
career.
We were joking about that this week, and I think Stedman's net worth is like 10, 15 million.
Yeah,
Like he's not
yeah.
broke. So I think we're overthinking that part, fellas. I think there's certain terminology that has become synonymous with how men and women deal with objection. I mean, so it's you have broke women who that will call a nigga broke because he can't manage her lifestyle. If you're broke, say you're broke. You have women just who are broke and strong will, like he can't handle me. I intimidate men. She can be broke. It has nothing to do with money. It's just when you reject me, I have to have some reason to explain why you reject me. And men being insecure, men being intimidated, it's all the same thing. It's just like it's the fact that maybe he just avoids conflict. Like, you know what? Maybe it's not even you, but I've seen this song and dance so many times that it's not worth it. The risk is not worth the reward. You could be that woman could be the one off. She could be that, like, you know what? It's not about the money. What's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. 50-50, whatever, yada yada. We're team Oprah, whatever you want to call it. Or it could be anything else. It could be
Because it could be a little bit not necessarily of intimidation, but it could be that guy being self conscious, right? There are guys that are self conscious about you make six figures, I make 50,000, and I feel a little bit of type of way. Like when you were talking about I ain't got it, there are guys that start to get jealous like
there's
that.
guys that do
There are
everything.
people
But
that are like,
it's a
because we have there's homeboys that do that, right? So I could see that same homeboy that's mad because we make more than him being mad because his lady makes more than him, right? So
yeah,
I think there are plenty of
there's
guys
always
out there that are
exceptions, but
just like that.
if that's always the answer, because like what? Because you can always give an example. Like, well, I had a homegirl who was a neurosurgeon, and her husband was a painter, and da 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 da. Okay, yeah, you got that example, right? But like you said, there's a lot. There's not. I don't think as many women who are dating or married to men that make more than them is not the common thing, and it's
Because of that preference list, right? Because of
yeah, because it's
society.
just like I want to avoid this. Like there's certain reasons people avoid certain things. There's certain reason people date in their race. There's a certain reason, people make their choices. It's like, you know what? The some people don't date black women because there's stereotypes, there's beliefs, and it's kind of like, you know what? Or there's the same way she's making an assumption of why he's not dating her because she makes so much. She made the same assumption. Like they're both making assumptions. Well, she's going to be this way because she makes more money. Oh, he's going to be intimidated because I make more money. Both of you made an assumption. And I think this is our safety net. We find a way to, when there's a chance that we're going to be rejected or somebody doesn't like us, oh, he's fat shaming. He's doing this. He doesn't like it's, I have a type. I don't have anything against big girls. It's just for whatever reason, I'm attracted to this. Oh, you're fat shaming, you're gay, you're sassy. Like there's always an excuse for somebody being rejected. And so I think we're overthinking it. I think it's just another one of those things where, yeah, there's some truth to it. There's always some truth somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 12% intimidated, but the 88% is like, yeah, I've seen this story
You're
too many
also
times.
overbearing. You're also nasty. You also don't cook, don't clean.
And you just called me insecure and you called me intimidated and stuff like that. You didn't even have, the wherewithal to kind of like, you know what, to have a conversation about it. You just made an assumption.
Yeah.
And attacked me.
And ladies, stop being mad at guys if they they mad because you don't clean. Because if you don't clean your house, I'm sorry, but it's not that I want you to clean my house. I just want you to clean your house. Like if I walk in your house dirty, I'm sorry, I can't date you. Like it ain't nothing about you got to clean for me. Like clean your own house.
Somebody said, "How you tired in your house dirty?" That shit was funny as hell.
Yeah, but it's scary. A man has to become. I mean, I think we're both sexes are trying to figure out what they're looking for in a spouse dating, and I think we're at this point where we don't know because the things throughout time that were our go-tos aren't our go-tos, like you said, provision and protection, that softness, that femininity, that rearing of the kids, that helpmate kids, who's working, is everything about the finances. Are we, it's there's certain things you're better at than I am. You're more of a nurturer, I'm more of a disciplinarian. And we're not talking about the money. We're talking about who rearing the kids. You're naturally more nurturing. I'm more, I do more of this. Take the money off the table. What works, what helps our household? What are you into more? Am I into financial security, or are you into experiences? So how do we balance that? I know several people who, they're into, similar to myself, and trying to find financial security for whatever reason. My insecurity is about being broke and being broke again one day, and retirement and all that stuff has me being very cautious about spending money certain times, where I know some women who are like, let's go on this vacation, let's do this, because they want to do experiences, they want to have fun with the family. So that balance, you make me a little more human, I make you a little more financial responsible. There's ways to make it work. We just have to figure out what that looks like moving forward. And the goal is to make your life easier and make my life easier. Both people can commit to that. I think we're overthinking what success and why marriages work.
Yeah, I was watching. I was listening to something, and they were talking about being equally yoked, and a lot of people misconstrue that
With
as
money.
in, oh, we got to be the same, or not just on the money, but we got to be on the same level of everything. And what she was explaining is what a yoke does is it makes oxen or whatever, right, the horses or whatever. Say one is strong on the left side, one strong on the right side. You put them together, and now they can pull in a straight direction because they've balanced each other out, and that's what the yoke does. And so it's finding the strengths and finding the weaknesses of each one of y'all and making sure that y'all are equally yoked to be able to go forward, right, and actually do the job instead of continually turning left or continually turning right because one of you is overpowered. And so she was talking about being equally yoked in those relationships, being able to say, hey, like you said, Ferg, I'm financially responsible, you aren't, right? You're a nurturer, I'm a disciplinarian. You're super driven and I'm super lax. And so that kind of equals it out so that you don't stress yourself out and you kind of push me to do some stuff sometimes, right? Like, so finding that balance in the relationship and being comfortable with it is way more important in a relationship than both of y'all making it. Like I was talking about, right? Two type A high performing earners really rarely work out because they're not equally yoked, right? Because both of them are doing the same thing and they're too similar and they're all going to go right. And so it ends up where they can't actually go forward together because they're too similar. So I think that's what we need to really get to, is having those conversations about how do you balance me out? And am I good with that, right? If I'm so far left and you're so far right, is it too much and we can't get there? But if it's just enough, then we can go further together.
I had a conversation with somebody a few weeks ago about, the table that everybody used to talk about, what do you bring to the table? And I think it was a similar situation where we talked about kind of being equally yoked and being a team. And it's like, hey, I'm okay bringing the meat to the table if you can bring the sides. Like, we created a meal, right? That's all we did is we created a meal. Why are you scared to bring the sides to the table? Because I only can bring, so even if I'm just bringing finances, if that's my strong suit, what about the mental balance? What about the maybe you're the socialite, maybe you're the spiritual person? What are you bringing that is just as important to the table? Like, don't let me bring the meat, the sides, and you bring the napkins. Think about a barbecue. If you showing up with napkins or paper plates, like, do you want to be that person?
Yeah, and I think same thing we talk about with the 50-50. I think that what do you bring to the table has gotten this super horrible narrative behind it.
Oof.
But truthfully, it's a valid conversation that you guys should be having, right? What are your and maybe that's what you do is instead of saying what do you bring to the table, hey, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, right? Where do you see that you're weak in a relationship, or where can I help fill in, right? Where do you think, or what are you looking for in a spouse or significant other that would help you move forward
Yeah.
and get better, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the what do you bring to the table,
Yeah,
and so maybe guys can even instead of saying what do you bring to the table, like, hey, I'm strong in these things, I am very very weak in these things. Do you think that you could fill those and help me out in those areas or
yeah.
whatever? This is what I'm looking for,
And it,
right? And then at that point y'all can have that conversation and then decide, do you want to go forward or not?
I agree with Rozzy, but I don't think it should be. When I hear people say the whole "what do you bring to the table" or like how you phrase it, I just picture two people sitting down at a dinner table in a restaurant and having that conversation. I think you're going to get a lot of rehearsed answers and what sounds great. Date the person. Over time, you will learn a lot of that. You will see how they handle certain situations. You will see how they deal with things. And like I told a good homeboy of mine who was talking to a girl that everything was so great and perfect. I said, talk to me after y'all have y'all first argument. Like, how do you come back from that? Does she go low? Like, you got to go through all types of different things, and you will get a lot of those answers that aren't rehearsed because reaction can't be rehearsed like a
yeah, true.
like a stale ass answer.
True.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just want
I
to put
still
that
like the
out there.
table just because I like if you sit down and you learn how to talk. Like imagine each he's like, hey, this is my strong suit. These are things that because it's even though if it might be rehearsed, I like to talk through it and say because I think that would help me and Z earlier. We had a lot of hypothetical conversations that we can continue to this day.
Mm.
We put things on the table about sex and kids and all those things. Everybody was, and then we really talked about it. Like so if we're talking about the tables, like what? What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat? What's your favorite meat? Okay, let's say steak is protection. That's huge to me. I think as a man, one of the biggest things I'm gonna bring is protection. And like what do you think? I feel like peace. I feel like I want to bring peace to the table. If you're doing out there doing, okay, that's the loaded baked potato right there, and you're playing around. Like it doesn't have to be. And so now, what is our and you talk through it. What does our smorgasbord look like? What does this look like? And you keep adding, like, you know what? Let's get some green beans. That's health. Like you're super healthy and you like to work out and all this stuff. You're like, man, you work out, like, yeah, man, I need somebody to help me. Like, man, I can, I love to work out and I think it'd be cool to, find somebody I can work out with. I want to work out with my spouse and stay attracted. And now you're having a conversation like, this is something that, like, man, I never thought I've been dating for 30 years. A woman's never really said she's going to help me stay in shape and I just stay in shape. She gets on me about the way I eat, right? And I'm taking my medication and all this stuff. And it's like, those are things that you start talking about.
What you got, Raz?
Oh no, I was just saying.
I agree. I agree with that too,
Yeah,
Ferg.
no,
That's a good
I was
point.
just laughing because Leah gets on me about taking my cholesterol medicine. She's
Yeah,
like,
and
"Did
so
you take your medicine?" Like, and
yeah,
that's what you're talking about, right? It's fill those gaps for me. Like, I won't
Women
take
are
care of myself.
annoyingly good at
yeah,
that.
and
They will
but
they will hold your ass
and that's
accountable to that.
and so when you say that, what made me realize with Z, and I'm gonna get off of it, is she did things for me that I wouldn't do for myself. She's the first woman that
Exactly.
came in and checked me about doing certain things, and am I going to the doctor? Am I going to this? Am I doing all these things? And I've been dating, and this little young chick put me in check, like and I've been dating all these, and nobody cared about that. That was the difference. Things she brought to the table were peace, a breath of fresh air, just open dialogue. She helped me navigate, and so as we start talking, we can start talking in kind of what you're saying. As we date, we can almost have this diagram of bringing stuff to the table. Like, you know what? That's it. I realized what she brought to the table is, man, peace, confidence, inspiration. She has my back like nobody else. I have this safe spot, yada yada yada, and that's it. So, but this was a good question.
And to your point, I mean, the thing about it is going back all the way back to the issue that we're running into with dating, right? Is now it's not cut and dry. Guy brings money, guy brings this, and girl brings the softness or whatever. It may be that the woman is the one that's bringing the money and she's the financial person and she can take care of all that and she can take care of and the guy may have to be the softer one, right? He may have to be the one. So ladies, I think the issue is coming in is you are coming in saying what you bring to the table. We always laugh and joke about the whole women saying, "Oh, I got my own house and this," and we like guys don't care about that, right? And I think there are guys that do, but those are the ones that do care about that are the ones that you don't want to date because you like calling him broke, right? He's the one that he cares that you make money because he don't have money or whatever, or so. I think the thing is you're coming in and you're saying what you're bringing to the table is not what the guy that you want to date is looking for. So you and again, that's why y'all need to have that conversation up front about, hey, what are you looking for? What if you ask what am I bringing to the table? Well, what are you looking for me to bring to the table? Right? Because can I do that or not? Right? If you're looking for me to be the soft chick that's gonna cuddle you and all that, that's not my personality. Right? Like Sophie is not gonna be that for nobody. Sophie she'll laugh, she'll joke with you, y'all gonna have a good time, but Sophie's not gonna coddle anybody. Right? And so I don't see Sophie being that type of chick. And so if a guy is looking for that and he's looking for his lady to do that, might not be the one for you, right? Like it just is what it is.
Hey man, the name of the article again is in the Wall Street Journal. American women are giving up on marriage. Check it out. I think even though they have a paywall, I believe you can create like an email and a password to like read one free article. And I say wasted on this one. Or you can follow me, and I posted a lot of the screenshots from the article. But it was go Wall Street Journal, do the men version. And I think it can be done in a way to where it's not used as gender war material, but I think it gave a lot of perspective for what women are going through in the dating scene. Now let's hear what the men are going through, and maybe we can start to like peel back some of the layers on what the major problems
They don't want
are.
to hear what them sassy ass niggas.
Hey man, all I got, man, is just make sure you subscribe. Three Brothers No Sense, any podcast platform. Get some merch, man. Rozzy, I gotta remind you again, I need a hat and I need that hope you have the day you voted for shirt. I had a coworker that asked me about that shirt. I was like, oh yeah, we do have that shirt. Uh get
All
one of those. And make sure you check us out on YouTube, man. Subscribe to us on YouTube and all the other social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. What else we on? Yeah, Twitter, something like
Twitter,
that. But yeah,
TikTok.
yeah, TikTok. There it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
just follow us. Three Brothers No Sense, man. Only podcast that had Eugene Goodman, by the way. I gotta throw that out there once in a while. The
There you go.
only one national media was hating on your boy.
They still hit us up. They still hit us up. Hey, we're looking to get with Eugene Goodman. We want to do a documentary and we want him on it or whatever. So we still get messages about contacting him. So like we his agent. So tell Eugene Goodman that tell Goodman we're gonna have to like start charging him like some agent fees there. So but Contentville, what up? Always got a shout out to you guys. Thank y'all for having us on the platform. So y'all go check that out. Download Inspire You on Air app so that you can listen to us anytime every Monday, along with all the other podcasts and platforms. First of all, I want to shout out Zovran Mondani. He is the new or potential mayor for New York. So he won the Democratic primary. If you guys know anything about New York, the Democrat pretty much always wins there. It's Republicans are actually excited about it because he's a Democratic socialist and he's a Muslim. And so they actually are excited that he got the nomination because they feel like they have a better chance to beat him in the general election there. So that is one thing. Yeah, kind of.
Kind of, not really. He did cozy up to Trump towards the end.
Yeah. So, but it's one of those things that it's still a very Democrat, like liberal place. And so shout out to him for making that, man. I mean, he was endorsed by AOC. If you guys know anything, I'm a AOC fan. Bernie Bro, all of that. I'm on that Democratic Socialist train as well. And so I like what they're trying to do. Some of it goes way too far left. It's kind of actually hurts them on their platform. But when you really kind of think about what they're trying to push, I think it's a precursor of what's going to happen in the Democratic Party over the next few months. Kind of like how the Tea Party took over the Republican and pushed them way right. I think that this movement is going to really catch hold and push the Democrats way left. And it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to open up a sliver for a third party to come in and actually get big, or it's going to really polarize politics even more than what we are in. So we'll see how it's going to act. You guys know we'll keep y'all updated on that, but I just shout out to him. And finally, I just want to shout out my little sister, Gigi. She finished her residency today. So I was on FaceTime as she got kind of her certificate and everything. So now she gets to go and get her big girl job as an actual doctor instead of just a resident. The day before my dad's birthday. So my birthday is tomorrow, and he finally got his real doctor now. So, and that was that. You know, I always talk about how I felt like I let him down because he thought I was going to be the doctor of the family. And I shift gears, but you know, he got one now. So, Dad, you got a doctor in the family finally. So, shout out to Gigi for that. Congrats to that, and I'll see you Saturday when I get down there.
Congratulations, for real.
Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again.
Share too.
Share. Damn, I knew that time. I knew that time it didn't sound right.